What's up everyone, welcome to today's video, welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So one of my audience members left a very interesting comment on my videos. They said, hey man, have you noticed that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League comes out in May and we don't have any gameplay, but a game like Street Fighter 6, which comes out afterwards, has already had 2 betas at this point. Now, I played the Street Fighter 6 second beta. In fact, I had a lot of fun. I was quite surprised how much the developers had advanced the game, and they'd been showing gameplay a long time, even before they gave an official release date. I get it. You might, say or argue that a fighting game that has been in development for a long time, this is probably expected, but it's also really interesting that their release date is way out there, and we have a game that's coming out very close and hasn't gotten any footage out to us, even when the very first time we saw Suicide Squad, it was actually in 2020, scheduled to come out in 2022. So an entire year from its first delay, and we haven't even gotten anything. We could also argue, and I want to make sure that I'm sensitive to this, that a game like Hogwarts Legacy is on the horizon, and maybe Warner Brothers does not want to go ahead and, pollute the well by using another game to block some of the attention that Hogwarts Legacy is getting. But most of us already know by now that Hogwarts Legacy seems to be impervious to a lot of the different issues or any kinds of attacks that are out there. The game has gone through its own crucible and seems like it's going to fare very well. Now, in looking at all of this, it goes to show that this is probably something that a lot of people are looking towards. In fact, this comment did not just mention that, is it possible that, we're not just seeing gameplay? They actually mentioned that it's possibly a red flag. Now, I would not go as far as saying that this is a red flag, but I guess there are people in the community that, are looking at certain things and thinking perhaps this is not something that is satisfactory, or based on what we've seen in the last few years, we probably need to go ahead and start maybe taking a look at things. Because if you think about, say, the other game that was also announced on the very same day that Suicide Squad was, actually brought gameplay to the table. So what could be going on? What could be different about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League that we're not seeing any gameplay? I think a few things come to mind. Number one, I think the PR, surrounding this game is something that the publisher would love to keep tight lids, or keep tight lips about, or keep under a tight sealed lid in a sense until closer to when the game is coming out. Because obviously you could say, well, the game is a story-driven game, so we probably don't need to see much till closer to the game. But now we know that the game is story-driven, but it does seem to have a live service element. So that doesn't necessarily seem to be a good, reasoning in a sense. It's not an impermeable argument. You can argue it, but, we can poke holes through it. Another thing, too, is seeing the way that the publisher, Warner, responded to that leak probably goes to tell you that there might be something that they do not necessarily, or are not necessarily intrigued with the community seeing as of now. Now, many of you know that content creators were giving copyright strikes for showing that picture of people on Twitter. Their accounts were locked, and there were DCMA takedowns across the board. And I think there is something about a PR perspective that this game is going to need in terms of being unveiled to the community. You think about all of this, and then you also maybe throw in the, very inconvenient or very convenient time of departure of, the creators of the Arkham games, Stephen Hill and Jamie Walker. I think it goes to show that Warner wants to, in a sense, kind of coddle Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League to the audiences with as little, drama as they possibly can. There's a lot of volatility in today's gaming world. A lot of games are not getting the benefit of the doubt, and as much as many may want to give Rocksteady the benefit of the doubt, I don't think overall the PR nightmare, if things were not to pan out the way people think, is going to be anything that game can sustain. In fact, Gotham Knights was the testing ground to see how much people can really spill, a lot of vitriol on a video game if they're not necessarily happy with it. But here's the thing. I'm going to concede in this video. I'm going to basically back away on this subject a little bit, but I wanted to go ahead and highlight it because my audience member pointed it out to me and say, let's give Hogwarts Legacy its release window anywhere from February the 7th, which is the very first day that the game is available to play to general audiences, all the way to somewhere like February 21st or 22nd. If by this time we haven't gotten any updates surrounding Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, then I may concede that this is probably some kind of a red flag that is rearing its head somewhere, somehow. I understand that there are people in the community that will probably say maybe for other games this is possible. I agree. If you think about a game like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, that game comes out, depending on when you're watching this video, in about a month. They already announced the game coming out in March, but we haven't seen any gameplay. But also keep in mind that that game is also a single player game like, say, God of War. So showing, gameplay footage might just be to showcase some mechanics and nothing crazy, or maybe to showcase aspects of the world. So we wouldn't expect to see much, unlike, say, Suicide Squad, which is not necessarily that. And even Hogwarts Legacy, being a single player game, has shown a lot in its own release cycle. So we probably are expecting this right now. And if Warner has not done that, then I say it might be time to worry. But anyways, these are my thoughts so far. Hopefully we'll get an update surrounding these issues and these topics, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.